Let's see how the Ryzen 5 4600H in the Acer Nitro 5 stands up against the Ryzen 7 4800H in the Asus TUF A15 in this head-to-head battle. I've run each of these laptops through Creator Focus benchmarks covering video editing in Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve, motion design, graphic design, photo editing, and more.
Let's get rockin'!
If you're new to the channel, my name is Benji Kaiser. This is where you're going to find the best tech and tools for creative professionals. Now, if you're curious about the exact pricing or the availability of either of these laptops, you can head down in the description below and click those links. Now, if you do use that link to make a purchase, I will get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you, and that's what keeps this channel alive and the helpful content coming your way. Getting right into the build quality, the Acer Nitro 5 comes with an all-plastic build, smooth finish edges, and sturdy materials. All of the components are secured to the chassis in a way that instills confidence in the build of this laptop. I would not recommend dropping it just to see how well it truly holds up, as it is still an all-plastic build, but it is sturdy, especially at the under $1,000 price point. The Asus TUF A15 comes with a military aesthetic boasting an aluminum top cover, while the rest of the build comes in a hardened plastic material. The beveled edges, corners, keyboard deck, and top cover are sturdy. I especially like the bolts on the top cover. It is a nice look that really emphasizes the tough military look that Asus is going for with this laptop. Both laptops are well built. They have strong hinges that open and close smoothly with minimal screen flex. The Acer Nitro 5 had a little more screen flex due to the plastic construction of the top cover, opposed to the Asus TUF A15's aluminum top cover. The port selection on these laptops are good, pretty standard for gaming laptops, and as I always recommend, make sure you consider your own daily workflow to pick the ports that are right for you. Onto a more heated conversation, full pun intended. The vents on the A15 have received a lot of negative press due to the fact that they are considered to be improperly placed, as well as some completely blocked off. This has caused the A15 to run hot, but however, this has not been seen to dramatically affect the performance, but does make the machine quite uncomfortable to hold when doing heavy workflow intensive tasks. Here are the thermal results from my test of the A15. The Acer Nitro 5, however, is well vented with a large vent on the bottom cover, vents on the keyboard deck and along the back panel, as well as both side panels. These vents, plus Acer's NitroSense and Cool Boost, allow the Acer Nitro 5 to get plenty of airflow, making it a much cooler laptop compared to many I have reviewed, but especially the TUF A15. Here are the thermal results from my test for the Acer Nitro 5. And so you can see how these two laptops compare. Here are the average stabilized thermals during the 4K export coming up later in the video. Both laptops come with nice keyboard decks that have good key travel with a clean, spongy key press, and they are quiet while typing. Both have fully stocked numpad layouts, but the A15 comes with RGB lighting for customizing your keyboard experience, whereas the Nitro 5 does not. Both trackpads have good touch sensitivity and gestures. However, I prefer the click embedded in the trackpad on the Nitro 5 rather than having separate right and left click buttons on the A15. Both work very well, but my personal preference wins out on this one. The biggest difference between these two trackpads is that right and left dedicated click. So I think this is a good option for designers, as well as it makes for easier dragging and dropping, but my vote still swings towards the Acer Nitro 5. But the choice is yours for a personal preference. Each laptop totes a full HD matte display with a refresh rate of 60 Hz on the Acer Nitro 5, reaching 240 nits at full brightness, and the A15 with a refresh rate of 144 Hz, reaching 275 nits at full brightness. Both have 720p webcams along the top bezel and speakers beneath the keyboard deck for good sound. Not excellent, but they will get the job done. Color accuracy is one area that both of these laptops are lacking. The Acer Nitro 5 comes with a 65% sRGB and a 49% Adobe RGB, whereas the Asus TUF A15 comes with a 66% sRGB and a 49% Adobe RGB. If you're a video editor that uses an external monitor like myself, you can easily overcome this by picking up a secondary color accurate external monitor to do your color grading on. I will link a few options for you in the description below, such as Acer's Concept D CM2. If you are someone that likes to be on the go, then weight and battery life are important to you. Take note, the Asus TUF A15 weighs in at 5.7 pounds and comes in at a thickness of 0.7 inches thick. You will get around 5 to 6 hours of web browsing battery life and about 2.5 to 3.5 hours of design and video editing battery life out of the 90 watt-hour battery. The Acer Nitro 5, however, comes in at 5.51 pounds and with a thickness of 0.94 inches thick. The 80 watt-hour battery will get you 11 hours of web browsing battery life and roughly 7 to 8 hours of design and video editing battery life. Alright, now that we know the usability of these laptops, let's check out the performance. The Acer Nitro 5 comes with the AMD Ryzen 5 4600H with 6 cores and 12 threads, the NVIDIA GTX 1650 with 4 gigs of VRAM, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 256 gig SSD. The Asus TUF A15 comes with the AMD Ryzen 7 4800H with 8 cores and 16 threads, the NVIDIA GTX 1660 Ti with 6 gigs of VRAM, and 16 gigs of RAM, as well as 512 gigs of SSD. Regarding the specs on these two laptops, you will notice that I was able to compare them at both 16 gigs of RAM. This may differ from some of my other reviews, so if you see scores that are slightly different from any of my other reviews, it is because I upgraded the Nitro 5 to 16 gigs and I downgraded the Asus TUF A15 to 16 gigs. For graphic design, these specs are wonderful, and you will experience a smooth workflow in Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, and other graphic design programs like Sketch or the Affinity Suite and Figma. The Acer Nitro 5 pulled off a 541, and the Asus TUF A15 snagged a 619. So we see right off the bat, you will get a little better performance out of those extra cores and threads and slightly better clock speeds of the Ryzen 7 4800H. If you're enjoying this video and getting some value, gently press down on that like button and let me know how you plan on using this laptop by dropping a comment below. If you want more content like this in the future, then make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of the future videos. All right, let's get back into it. In After Effects, the TUF A15 pulls ahead once again, but not by a lot. It scored a 763 versus the Acer Nitro 5's 710. And for the render benchmark, due to the A15's more powerful 1660 Ti GPU, it outperformed the Nitro 5's GTX 1650 by quite a bit. The A15 scored a 661 and the Nitro 5 scored a 377. But what about video editing? I am going to use Premiere Pro for this test, and I will place a 9-minute 4K clip into the timeline and play it back at full quality settings to see if I get any drop frames out of each of these laptops. The project I'm using has 16,177 frames in total, and 7,200 of those being motion graphics. For the Acer Nitro 5, we saw a drop frame rates as follows. At full quality, 3,150. At half quality, 27. And at fourth quality, 0. For the Asus TUF A15, at full quality, 1,213. At half quality, 137. And at fourth quality, 4. As you can see, the Asus TUF A15 pulled out ahead for the drop frame test. Do note that I was running this test with only Premiere Pro open, so I will say that if you start multitasking on your laptop while editing, you may experience more drop frames at full quality, but you can easily drop it down to half or fourth quality to keep your editing experience smooth. And regarding the 7,240 frames in that project, the Nitro 5 was able to render them out at 5 minutes and 37 seconds. Whereas the Asus TUF A15 was able to do that same render in 3 minutes and 37 seconds. Moving on to the 4K export test, if you want to check out more head-to-head reviews for the Acer Nitro 5 or the Asus TUF A15, you can see the full playlist of each in the YouTube cards above once this video is complete. For the 4K export test, I'm going to take a 9-minute 4K clip, place it in Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve using the free version of DaVinci Resolve, then export both out at 1080p and 4K YouTube settings. Do note that I was recently able to get some new data on this test for the Asus TUF A15 since Premiere Pro pushed the update for hardware encoding. So if these numbers are slightly different than my older reviews, that is why. The Acer Nitro 5 Premiere Pro 4K to 4K export took 4 minutes and 28 seconds. For the TUF A15, that same export took 4 minutes and 57 seconds. The Acer Nitro 5 Premiere Pro 4K to 1080p took 3 minutes and 54 seconds, and the TUF A15 took 3 minutes and 52 seconds. For the Acer Nitro 5 DaVinci Resolve 4K to 4K, it took 13 minutes and 22 seconds, and for the TUF A15, it took 6 minutes and 37 seconds. For DaVinci Resolve 4K to 1080p, the Nitro 5 took 7 minutes and 5 seconds, and the Asus TUF A15 took 4 minutes and 57 seconds. Okay, so now that we know what these laptops are capable of in the apps, let's check out the Geekbench 5, Cinebench R20, as well as thermal and noise tests. Here is a quick refresher on the thermals. At idle, the A15 fans kicked on occasionally, whereas the Nitro 5s did not. During web browsing, the Acer Nitro 5 reached 37 decibels, and the A15 reached 47 decibels. During the 4K video editing and export in Premiere Pro, the Acer Nitro 5 ramps up to 49 decibels, and the TUF A15 matched that at 49 decibels as well. During the DaVinci Resolve export, the fans on the Acer Nitro 5 were at 48 decibels, and the TUF A15 was at 52 decibels. Now, for the Photoshop benchmark test, the Acer Nitro 5 was at 55 decibels, and the TUF A15 was at 47 to 54 decibels. If you're looking for a laptop with a military aesthetic and Ryzen 7 CPU, great performance in regards to graphic design, photo and video editing, motion design, plus some of the best Geekbench scores I've ever seen, and it has a really solid keyboard and trackpad setup, then you're going to want to check out the Asus TUF A15. But if you're looking for a laptop that runs a Ryzen 5 4600H processor, but substantially cooler during all tests while accomplishing these tests at near the same results, while having a firm, well-built trackpad and keyboard deck, then you need to pick up the Acer Nitro 5. If you're curious about the pricing and further in-depth specs, you can click the links below. Now, those links are affiliate links, so if you do make a purchase, I will get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you, and that's what keeps this channel alive and the helpful content coming your way. If you want to watch more videos about the Acer Nitro 5 or the Asus TUF A15, click or tap the screen over here. Otherwise, keep editing, keep designing, keep creating. I'm Benji Kaiser, and I'll see you here in the next video.